Well, welcome everyone, and thanks for being here again. And I am John Dupuy, CEO of WeAwake Technologies, and this is our weekly WeAwake meditation. And you can see there's some of the WeAwake team is meditating with us this morning. This morning here, wherever you are on the planet. And Louis is going to lead this meditation, but he's having some problems with his back, which are really, so anyway, we love you, Louis, and sending you healing energy. And Pam and I are just, we've been on the COVID journey. So about a little over a month and 2 days ago, we were infected. And hey, here's a newsflash. It's not a hoax. Or if it's a hoax, it's very convincing. Yeah, so anyway, we got really ill, and I have at the local clinic, we were traveling to Colorado to do some things, and we had been in Louisiana taking care of our Pam's aging mother, my mother-in-law, and we got up to Colorado, and it became clear that we were ill, and so we drove over to Utah, which is our other home, the home of our hearts in the Utah wilderness, southern Utah, and got sick there. And it was good to be home, surrounded by the land that I love. And we were a long way away from any hospitals. And so there was like, the option was to drive up, 3.5 hours to find a hospital, which may or not, be full, let us in while we're sick. And then, then we can't stay with any friends because you'd infect them, then go to a motel and infect people there. So we decided to stay at home and just work on it here. And so we did. And anyway, there's many things that unify us, and whether you physically had this disease or not, at this point, many of us know people who have, if we haven't had it ourselves. And of course, we've all been affected by the social distancing, the isolation, the economic, the constant, political mud fight about this whole thing. And it's been long and hard. But here we are. And let's hope, there's two things that can happen in times of stress. You can either devolve into lower levels of functioning, as in, get medieval or dark ages, or, just go back to an earlier and uglier way of being, or we can evolve and become more compassionate, more understanding, wiser, and evolve models and systems and things that come out of the chaos that are more beautiful and more functional. And the thing about chaos theory, this complexity that emerges, this beautiful complexity, it's not predictable. They don't have models that can predict what the changes are going to be. So that's just something that we have to work together and do our best to be the best that we are. So with that, today we're doing a track that is called Thunderbird, and it's the second track in a collection by Nadja Lin. Is one of our longtime creators here, and Nadja Lin from Berlin. She's a wonderful, beautiful, wise woman, and just brilliant creating this kind of stuff. And she's visited us here several times in Utah. And when she's here, she's always out with microphones and in the mountains and in the deserts and recording streams and ambient noises and animals and birds and all this stuff. And she's done that with Berlin and different interesting places, and use that part of the track. Now, these tracks, a lot of the ambient sounds you'll hear on this was from a safari they did in Africa. And safaris nowadays, unless you're a Trump, you don't actually shoot animals, you take pictures and hang out with them. And so they were there in the picture. So they took a lot of the noises from Africa that are in this track, and it's called Thunderbird, which is a mythological creature of great power, which I won't get into now. And so let's unify our hearts and minds and let go of the extraneous thoughts. And as we deepen into this track, and I believe this track tunes us to theta, which is kind of the beautiful spot where the unconscious and the conscious mind blend. And it's a track where a lot of breakthroughs can happen, spiritual experiences, revelations, deep intuitions, insights, etc., and working through all kinds of traumas and issues that might be coming up, both individually and collectively. So let's sink into the depths of this together, and we'll see you on the other end. Let's roll. Hi. Okay. So that was 40 minutes, by the way. I forgot to say that before we began the meditation. So I hope you're able to hang in there with us. And yeah, it's a good place to be. It's an essential place to be, is in our interiors, both in our individual interiors and our collective interiors, which is the kind of work that we do here on WeAwake. And if you've not been living in a cave, you know that we're really living in very interesting times. And I think with the perspective of distance, we'll be able to look back on these times and understand a little more all of the kind of tectonic plates and everything, the shifting that was going on. But let us hope that that we can come through this better, and that realize that we are all in this together, right? Whether we're from the United States or from the Philippines or from Europe or from China or from South America or Mexico or Latin America or Africa, or wherever we're from, that we are, we're no longer living in the times where we can just kind of hang out. If we have one of these little devices here, let's see, there we go. We can, we're all hooked up, and it can be a blessing and a curse. And we're learning what we're just learning, you know, that, oh, what a great idea. Yeah, the internet. Oh, God, what a bummer. The internet, right? You know, which is true. Well, yeah, they're both true. So let's wake up and become the wisest, best versions that we can be. And you know, in democracies in the United States, there's a lot of I don't know, there's a lot of attention to our rights of free speech, a right of assembly, a right of free press, a right of to believe in whatever version of religion. And these are all very responsible things. But I think as we mature as a species, we're going to have to pay attention to more what are our responsibilities. You know, here's a big news flash for those who have, you know, we're struggling on emerging out of narcissism, where there's only, you know, number one, that's all that matters, is that we are, it's not just about you. And just to realize that, you know, it can be a great developmental and evolutionary leap forward. So remember, it's not just about you, you know, and whether you know, you do your isolation, you wear your mask, you wash your hands, you do all the things that we can possibly do to at least get through this plague that we're going through. And it's, you got to do it, you know, and to be in integrity with your best self. And we just heard the other day that they discovered cases of coronavirus in the United States earlier than they did in China. So I don't know if that gets China off the hook, the China virus over here. Maybe it's the US virus. And if it is, I'm really sorry. You know, I'm sorry we shared that gift with everyone, but actually I think it's a global pandemic, and we need to treat it like that. And work together for a better future and a better present. And the kind of one of the most revolutionary things that we can do is work on ourselves. And it is not narcissistic navel gazing, as they used to call meditation, but it is probably the one thing that we can do that we know about scientifically that can help us to grow into the highest versions of ourselves, our own highest potential. And to not reach that, or not to be aware of that you may not be at the top of the food chain where you're currently residing in your values, in your emotional and spiritual life. It's a good thing. It's good to know. There was a old Jewish mystic, rabbi, who said that it's good to know what's above you. You know, it's good to know that that you can attain higher levels, and ask God to give you that hunger in your heart to do that, because even that seems to be beyond our power to work it up. There seems to be a certain amount of hard work and discipline and a great measure of grace, which seems to be higher consciousness or the universe coming to our aid, the small self, to emerge and evolve into a more beautiful self. And that as I'm really not floating in outer space. This is just one of our backgrounds, but it does kind of give us a cosmic view of our planet and our connectedness and the whole universe that we're connected to. So at the deepest levels of our consciousness and at the highest levels of our consciousness, we find, and I'm not sure if it's up or down, we're meditating, it seems to be a sinking in, but it also, there seems to be the process of moving through the chakras, the higher levels. So any direction you go, you're going to find the same thing if you go far enough. And we don't have to fear going deep or going higher. It's kind of scary when your stable identity kind of melts away and you find out that you're something much greater than that. You're connected to all this stuff, but it is also essential for the seed to become the tree, that we go through that metamorphosis in that process. And the thing that can make that most available is practice. And of course, at WeAwake, we're here developing the tools to share with the world so that we can, and more of us can get there more quickly and in ways that include all of us, that we don't lose essential parts of ourselves, shadow parts and stuff like that. It's all included in this practice. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. Pam and I, we're on the mend, it seems. We're not completely through. It's quite a scene to get this this disease. And of course, in most situations where we confront our own mortality, it's a good time to check in with yourself and, self-reflect and, okay, God, if you're going to give me more time after this, how can I best use it? And what else am I here to do? Am I on the right path? And is there anything I need to clean up, etc.? So it can be a really good thing too. And, but it's also a lot of suffering. So, yeah. It's our heart and love goes out to all those who are suffering from this thing, and anybody who's anyway connected with other people, whether you have the virus or not, you've suffered through it. So let us continue to work together, to love together, to forgive one another, forgive ourselves, and to be the best that we can be. So thank you so much for sharing this with us. And thank you, Nadja, for creating the beautiful track that we used. And WeAwake team, love you guys. And anyway, we'll be here next time, universe willing and God permitting. Aho. Thank you.